it's a dialing software. So basically,
Okay.
our clients they'll they'll use our software as a way to reach clients, multiple clients at one time.
Okay.
What we're going to use the software or for the Whatfix
Mm-hmm.
within the software is how to do things, like how to create a campaign or how to create a user, how to up your dial level on your campaign, how, just the basics that they would call into support for,
Okay.
that they can actually look and see how to do this on the screen.
Okay. All right. All right. So, how many? So you're trying to solve a support problem, right? So, how many support queries
Correct.
do you get in on a daily basis or on a monthly basis? A rough number.
How many support questions?
Yeah.
I would say we we roughly, I mean, it's a small number, but we
Uh-huh.
roughly average about 30 support calls a day.
A day. Okay.
that's about, that's rough, yeah. Some days it's less, some days it's more, but it's about 30, and they seem to revolve around specific, like how do I go and do this again, or I don't know, I remember how do I add a user, and this is what we're trying to use Whatfix to eliminate the questions, the basic questions that our clients have,
Mm-hmm.
where we can focus more on their the harder issues that are happening. Like bug fixes and feature requests that they're looking for. So we can eliminate all the how tos, um, with giving them the a majority, not a majority, but a good number of what they call in about
Okay. Okay.
on a
And
frequent basis.
and typically, what are the number of how many hours are spent on answering these queries? Is it going to be a really short call or is it going to be a really long call to resolve these queries?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
So when a user calls in to ask for a certain query, what is it generally? What is the time taken to answer it? Is it going to be a really short call or is it going to be a long call?
It all depends on their how how they understand it. A lot of times we have to remote control their computer and
Mhm.
show them how to do it because they don't understand where to go, or
Okay.
I mean it just depends. It depends what kind of call it is. That most of them are pretty short, I would say.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just saying like I want to know how to add a user, for instance, they want to be walked through over the phone, and usually if it's walking them over the phone, they usually do a remote connection, and they
Uh,
kind of guide them through the steps,
what's the most common?
which is what
Sorry, what's that? Go on.
I'll say it again.
Sorry, you were saying something. Go on. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying that that's the reason why we want to use Whatfix
Got
to
it.
to eliminate those type of calls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's also that. I mean, we've definitely spoiled our customers by doing a lot of things for them. So, in some ways, there's going to be that whole change management thing that work through as far as the mindset.
Right,
What do you think? Do
right.
you think that's
That's yeah. So you will have to very consciously make that change, saying that now you have this help already in your application, so you don't have to call us anymore. You can just click on it and then take the help. It's more like a self-service. So that's something that we'll have to go over and change the mindset of the people using this application.
yeah?
Right.
And so, do you have any kind of like support emails coming to you, or is it just the calls that happen?
It's mostly calls. We do have email support,
Mm-hmm.
but it's usually just them requesting something, or it's not really like, how do I do this? It's they know to call in first. Call is primary support. for us.
Got it. So, with Whatfix coming into the picture, how would you, refrain from you making calls and pushing people towards the towards self-help? So, would you just cut it off, or how do you plan to, kind of get that arrangement done?
I mean, well, I would hope there'd be something on the screen that would
Mm.
indicate that there's something that's going to be able to help them.
Okay. All
I
right.
looked at other softwares like WalkMe.
Uh-huh.
Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, yeah.
So WalkMe has a menu at the bottom of the screen that says, "Do you need help?"
Okay.
And then you type in what you're looking for, and then
Right.
it says, "Oh, here's how to do this. Click
Mm-hmm.
here," and then it starts the guide.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're hoping that our clients see something like that, and then you start using it, and then we're going to send out a mass email to all our clients to letting them know that we do have this feature in case they want to use it for training or if they want to use it for just simple things that they can do on their own, that it will walk them through it or kind of guide them through how to do certain, steps on the software.
Okay. Got it.
And then
Yeah.
hopefully they get used to it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, we do have a panel which says, click on this, like a self-help menu, where the user knows that if you click on it, you will get all kinds of help. So yeah, we can, use a bunch of other features that Whatfix has to offer, and provide, give that information to the user that they have a tool in place to get their queries answered. So I think I'll just move on to my demo now and just show you around what Whatfix has to offer, because only this is your first time.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you start seeing it. All right. Are you seeing my screen?
Not yet.
I I can see it.
Okay, Scott, you can say it. Okay.
I see it now.
All right, perfect. So now, since we are now mostly concerned about the support part, I'll start with the support. So we provide contextual help to users. So I'm just showing this on my Salesforce application, just like how you have different tabs on your application, which said inbound settings, outbound settings, and all of that different things, panels. Imagine these tabs to be those panels, and depending on where the user is on your application, you can provide a user with contextual help. So let's say I'm on the lead section of my Salesforce application. You will see there is a little bar here on the right hand side which says help with lead setup. So basically the user can then click on this, and he will be provided with all the relevant information that he requires to navigate through this page on his application. So it's all about how to enter leads in Salesforce, how to assign leads in Salesforce. It's all the information that you need for somebody who is within the lead section. And the
How
user,
many items can you have here?
so you can have any number of items here, but it would be, if you were to put a number to it, it would be 40, 40, 40 topics like this.
40 topics within the same. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
ideally, so what ideally we do not even need to go there to 40 topics, because I don't think we will need 40 topics related to one page in your application. Would that really make sense in your case, that you would need 40 different items under one page?
It probably would come pretty close. There's some pages that you could do a lot with. Um, I think 40 would be sufficient though. And again, it's not going to be for every single thing. We're going to do the most common questions of how to do something on the page that they're on.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, so the idea is, what when I say 40, it basically means you can like scroll and see 40 flows, but we can always increase that limit. The idea is that when you're on a particular page, you want your users to see only information related to that page. And when they move out of that page
Correct.
and go to another page, obviously they're going to find help related to that page. So typically you would not need that many flows in one particular page. So that's the idea. But yes, we can. This is a flexible thing, so obviously we can manage that. So now the user basically comes here and then he starts a flow, and now I just click on how to enter leads in Salesforce. So you start that flow. It says, okay, select a new button, and then it continues like that. Open the flow. So basically, it helps your user to go step by step with it and navigate through your application to complete a particular activity. So now I was on the leads page. Now, if I move out of the leads page and go, let's say, to the report section of my Salesforce application, you will see that the self help is configured to match the look and feel of the report section here. This color here matches this one. And again, when I click on it, you will see all the information within this which relates to reports. So this way, I'm contextualizing the information that is available to my user so that he does not have to really search through the topics to find the one relevant for him at that point. And this contextualization can happen
Mm.
on the location the user is on, as well as depending on the profile the user is on. So if you have like different types of users, like an admin user and a regular user, then the kind of flows an admin user would see is might be different from that of a regular user. So you can even break it down to that minute detail, saying that this is a flow that an admin must see on the report section, and this is a flow a regular user must see on the report section. So we can break it down to show very contextual, relevant information to users.
Okay. I mean, yeah, our reporting is a little bit more advanced than that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of steps to it. We have a lot of different types of reporting that they would want to do. So I'm not sure if actually it would work like that, where they would show you different variations of reports that you can do, or if you want to just if we can do basic reports.
Yeah, I
Can I
think,
show you our report?
starting, yeah, I was going to
Uh,
say that's actually a great suggestion.
okay, you want to show me your report? Okay, go ahead. Let me make you the presenter.
And
Okay.
I think, initially we would start off with some basic stuff and just trying to get the users exposed to, or the admins, agents, whatever, exposed to just using
Yeah.
the guides, and then, become more sophisticated over time with more complex, subjects or
Now,
topics or.
Mm-hmm.
now, see the problem would be for us here is, let's say for instance, now this is not the main page. This is
Mm-hmm.
kind of here. Let me log out and log. I'll tell you what our main page would be.
Okay.
So this is the main page. This is actually where the person, when they log in, they start here, right?
Okay.
If you wanted, if this, we had a Whatfix here that
Mm-hmm.
said, how do I create a report? How do I mean, because everything is done from this page, because here's our tabs at the top.
Okay.
So for instance, let's say, how do I create a call report,
Okay.
call status report? So
Okay.
they would actually click here.
Mm-hmm.
They would go down to custom reports.
Okay.
That opens the report page. Then they go to status report, and then they would do their fixed date range. So they'd have to pick a date range. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell them what to pick because we wouldn't know if they're doing it by
Correct.
day, by yesterday, last month. So
Mm-hmm.
it would have to be generic here,
Right.
saying, pick your date
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or pick a quick date, whatever. So let's
Uh-huh.
say I wanted to do yesterday. I wanted to do it between, let's say, I don't know, 12 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Okay.
I wanted to do Eastern time, so all these little selections they need to know to do to get the right report. Because if they miss this, if
Mm-hmm.
they do Pacific and they're in Eastern, they're going to get the wrong report. They're going to be, the reports can be 3 hours difference.
Right.
So
So
it's like some of these are very crucial for them to pick, especially like the time zone and stuff. So maybe if there's a Whatfix thing that pops up saying, select time zone of your agents or select the correct time zone, and then they do that, and then they click apply, and then it brings up the report here, and then they want to know what can they do with this report if they want to export it to a CSV. So there's many roads that they can take once they get a report, and what's the next step they want to do. If we're just getting them to create the report, maybe if there's like a Whatfix thing that would pop up right here and say, you can either export, save it, or set as default, then we'd have to give instructions on the Whatfix to what to do next.
Right.
Once you run the report, what do you do next? And that's our challenge. Is there's other things that they can do from here. They can also do it as a graph, or they could do a daily report, an hourly report, and these are all things that they would want to do. So you can have one report, like how do I run a status report, but how do I run a status report that's daily, that's detailed by hour? There's a lot of different types of the same report that they would do.
Yeah, but do you? Yeah.
And then the end result of what they're going to do with that report, they're going to export it to a CSV, stuff like that.
Got it.
That's the more complicated one for this. But here's another one. Here's another one that we do on a regular basis. Let me go back here. So let's say how to upload leads into the account.
Okay.
So it's a very simple thing to do, but there's a lot of steps.
Okay.
So you would have call center be first step, leads second step, upload leads third step, choose a file fourth step, pick the file that you select fifth step, open sixth step, make sure this is CSV, upload seventh step. And then we want something to say, please wait or something like that. And then it will say, once the next button hits, that's ninth step. And then they can go two ways. They can create a new list. That'd be a 11th step, right? Choosing a campaign would be a 12th step. So you see how many steps there is to take.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Whatfix can do that, right? I mean, how many steps can you have in one how-to?
So we can have 50 steps in a flow. But that being said, It's always good to have shortest, smaller number of steps in a flow, because it kind of gets a little. I know in an application as complex as yours, it may be a good idea to have up to 20 steps. But longer the steps, users tend to fall out of it. Like they find that a little tedious to follow through 25, 30 steps. But yeah, we have up to 50 steps. We do offer up to 50 steps per flow.
50 steps. Okay. Can that be increased?
No.
In case the flow needs to be long?
No, that's the
50 steps?
That's never happened. All throughout the time of Whatfix, I don't think we had any time when we wanted steps more than 50, because that's absolutely, first of all, not encouraged. And I don't think there's a way that we can actually increase it from more than 50 for one flow. But what we can do is we can break up a particular flow into smaller flows so that it kind of gets connected one after the other. So you can make like a sequence of flows, which gives a feeling that you're actually doing one big flow, but you're actually doing a sequence of flows one after the other. So that can be done.
I don't think that we'd go over 50 steps.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I think there's quite a few steps. I think maybe 20. But you said that most users fall off after doing steps that long?
Yeah, more than 25, 30 steps is like the user ends up not doing it.
But what if they have to, though? I mean, because there is 20 steps in this process.
If they have to, they have to.
You can't just get here and stop. Like, you're going to create the list. You need to, give it a name.
we'd have to test
You got
it
to
as
do
well, and
everything.
we'd have to find out how far they're going to go. If they're not going, they're only going so far, then we'd obviously have to come up with a new strategy to, like break it into two or whatever. But I think initially just getting, think something like trying, how to add a user, or I guess the lead upload's pretty common. I mean, like setting up a campaign is pretty much more complex, much more involved. The reporting's a little more involved, but maybe some basic things to start and to see how, what kind of feedback or acceptance we get of this kind of whole
Yeah, but
new approach.
the most basic question that we get is how to upload leads.
And
I mean, that's a long step process. Reports, long step process,
how
and very
long?
common.
How many times does a user have to do this leads bit? Is it like a daily activity for a user, or how often does a user have to do this?
It depends on the user and how many leads that they want to put in the system to call. I mean, it could
Oh,
be a few times a day. It could be a few times a week. It just depends on the user. I mean, our users have like 200,000 leads in their accounts,
and they
and if
have
they
to
run
go.
out of leads to
Uh-huh,
call, they have
uh-huh.
to upload more leads, new leads.
Oh, and they have to go through this 20-step process to build to put add a lead onto their application, right?
Well, to add leads to call. Yeah,
Right.
these are lead lists of like 50,000 people that they're trying to upload into the system so they can
Mhm.
call those 50,000.
Okay. All right. Got it. Yeah. And 20 steps. Let's actually build a flow and have this flow set up, and then we'll see how that goes. 20 steps is fine, but when it goes beyond that, like 25, 30 is when it's pretty dangerous. But since this is an application where the user has to actually do it, they might not actually fall out
Mm-hmm.
because they have to do it anyway, right? It's not like they have an option there.
Yeah, they have to go through the entire process, even to get to this part where they have to map the fields, and then once they map the fields, and they click finish, and then they'll they'll see their here. Let me see if I can get there. I'll just do the phone, and then get to this part. This is basically it's just uploading the leads into the
Mm-hmm.
system,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. That's the process of uploading leads, generically doing it.
Okay.
Because on the screen right before this, it's not going to be the same for every client. So um, that's what I'm worried about. It's like a client may see one thing on that page, and then another client will see another. So we're not going to be able to point at things like specifically like this field here, click and enter something, because another client will have something totally different.
Okay. So
It has to
what?
be really generic, like map your field. It's just like telling them what to do next, not to point at anything, or it just needs to be something that addresses, okay, make sure you have the phone number is required, and then just pick all the fields that need to be mapped, kind of thing.
Yeah,
It
I
can't
think.
on that section we can't point at anything because it like I said, it's different for everybody. It
Okay.
looks different on everybody's account.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, we can keep it generic. That should not be a problem.
All right.
All right. So let's go back into my onto my Salesforce application so that I can show you around the next set of the remaining features that we have, and then we go from there. Okay.
Okay.
Are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we spoke about the self-help option here. The other option that we have is, okay, I'll just show you the one that we right now have, which is called the shout out or the beacon. So this is another thing when you are introducing something new into your application, like a new element or a new feature, then you can have a shout out, something similar to this, so that when a user clicks on it, it then describes what this new element is all about.
Okay.
So this is particularly important when you are uh, coming out with a new element or a new release on your application. Then there is the onboarding pop-up. So, like we mentioned, what were the different ways in which we can actually say that there is a tool for help? I think we can use the onboarding pop-up, something like this, which actually, when the user logs in to your application, it could say, welcome to Convoso, and then we can say there is this new tool called Whatfix who's going to be here to help you, to get help on whatever queries you have, and then the user can just click on guide me and then take help. Like, it can show you where the self-help is sitting. So it this kind of gives a awareness to the user, what are the existing elements that is available on the application and what are the things that is available for the user to take help from.
Okay.
um, and then we have a a training tool which is called the task list. Do you see this? Do you see this in the bottom here on the left hand side?
Yes.
So when a user is coming into the application, let's say for the first time, and he's not very sure what to do on the application, so you can provide him with a bunch of tasks to complete, saying that, small tasks like setting up your profile picture, updating your user information, updating your password, all these tiny little things to get him started with the application. You can put it as a task list for the user. So if you look at this task list here, it has one of the tasks is explanation of various sections in Salesforce. So now if I click on it, it starts a walkthrough of the elements that are available within the application so that I'm acquainted with it. So here I have, so I'm just going through a quick tour around my application. So I say next. Okay, this is my chatterbox, which is great. And you'll also see that everything is darkened out or grayed out in the background, and only the elements what are very relevant to my user is getting highlighted in this walkthrough.
Right.
I say, okay, I've gone through this. I understood what are the elements that are available or what are the options that I have on my application. So I close that out, and you will see in the task list there were two tasks before. Now it's reduced to one, and this in a way gives the user a sense of accomplishment, as well as he can self-track his own progress. So he knew that there were two tasks assigned to him, and you can see there is a tick against the task he's just completed, and there is one pending. So this way he can self-track his own progress, and once he's completed all the tasks that has been assigned to him, this task list disappears from your application. So this is from a training perspective. And
Gotcha.
and one another thing which I think is interesting, especially in the case because you have a lot of support questions coming to you in the form of in the form of phone calls. But if you can, map this through emails, I think there's an interesting way to do that. So if you have when you're creating these flows, obviously these flows are going to be created and they're going to be stored in your Whatfix account. So anytime somebody gives you a call or somebody writes you an email, what you can do is you can just tell them that, hey, listen, I'm going to send you an Whatfix link to solve this problem of yours. So what you can do is you have the flow already created, which is within your Whatfix account. So all you have to do is go in there, pick up the URL, and send this URL to your user. So if let's say your users have trouble in creating contacts, or in your case creating leads, so you have the flow created, and now you're just going to send it over to them as in the form of an email. So when they click on the email, they're going to go into their application, and it's going to give them a uh, step by step solution to their problem.
So it opens the application for them from the email?
So the thing is, would you be? Is there like if a user is logged in already, do they have to log in again into your application? Like, is it every time you log out, if there is a timeout or something in your application that logs the user out?
No. As long as they're logged in, they're logged in.
So if they're logged in, it directly takes them within that point where the flow is initiated, the first step of the flow, and it starts from there. If they're logged out, then you might have to. Sorry, yeah. Go on.
What if they get the email and they're not logged in? What happens?
So then we might have to add an extra step saying that, first log in with your username and password, and then start with step one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so that being said, I think I've covered pretty much everything that I wanted to show you. Okay, there's another thing that I would like to show you. Give me a second here. So, unlike our self-help or the contextual help or the task list pop-up and all of that, there's this another thing called the smart tip. So basically, if you're not very sure that your users will probably not click on a click on the self-help to take help, you can also provide them with proactive help. So you would know what are the most tricky elements on your application where people find it hard to create, to proceed with the application. So in those areas, you can have these smart tips. So which pops up when the user is entering text or when the user is hovering on that element. So something like this. So as I go to enter the type, I have a pop up that says, okay, this gives some information about what I'm supposed to be doing there.
Okay.
So this is something that the user is not triggering by himself. It just pops up for the user when he is hovering over that element or is typing some text into that into that text box.
How do you activate this on it? I mean, this is something that's always there, or can you activate it to be on and off?
Well, this is going to be there when you hover on that element, and it goes off when you take it off, take the focus off that element.
Is this instead of having the thing on the right side that shows you how to walk through stuff?
Yeah,
I
it's
notice you don't have one of those. Oh, you do here.
yeah, you could have it. The idea is when you have really long forms and some places where you think the user is not going to ask help but they really need help, you can have this on that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, so those were the things that I wanted to show you. And there's one other little thing which we have, which is just a small normal pop up, which just pops up when, like, it's more like for broadcasting some kind of an information to your users, just a way of communication rather. If you want to just talk to them about, say, there's going to be a maintenance downtime in your application, and you want to sort of broadcast that message to all your users, and to all the users who are coming to your application, you can simply have a normal, simple pop up saying, hey there, we're going to be down 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Come back after that, something like that. So you could have a simple pop up like that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
let me show you that as well. So smart pop up, broadcast message, edit.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty easy as well. Yeah, something like this. So it says, hi there, we're going to have a maintenance downtime between 9 to 10. So you could have something here. It could be even like a video that you want your users to see, an image. It could be anything that you could put here instead of the text. And the user can say, okay, so they know what's
Right.
going on. And all this is very simple to, set up. But I will talk about setting this up a little later on, but before that, I would want you to actually sign up into your Whatfix account and install the Whatfix editor so that you can, create a simple flow first. After that, we can talk about how we can manage the widgets on your application. So I'm just going to
Gotcha.
quickly send you the link to that to your account. Mm. Scott, just another question for you. Will Jennifer still be a part of this?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think we've got kind of two prongs going, one with like our sort of new prototype turnkey product, and then this one here, which is our existing more enterprise focused product.
Okay.
So I think ultimately, Ernie might have a better insight into that.
Um, she'll be a part of this. at some point.
Okay. Right. Ernie, I'm sending you the link to sign up. Let me know if you received it. It's in the chat. Did you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So first, please click on the sign up and enter your name, desired password, and your email address, and click on sign up to get in. Are you in?
I'm waiting for the verification link.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay, perfect. So now you've just logged into your Whatfix account, and you'll probably see nothing at this point because you have no flows created, all right? Or are you going to be seeing one flow?
Yeah, I see create a user.
Are you seeing the flow? Are you seeing something like? Okay, so I just want to run you through the through your Whatfix account as well. So you're going to be creating flows from here. I think you'll see an install editor on your right hand side top. Could you click on install editor and down install the Whatfix flow creator?
Yeah, I installed the editor.
All right. Uh, so this you can create your flows from either the Google Chrome or Firefox browser. So these are the two browsers through which you can create flows. But from a point of viewing the flows as an end user, you can view it from any browser you like. But from the point of creating them, you can only create them on browser and or you can create them on Firefox and Chrome. So
Okay.
let me just run you through how to create a flow very quickly. So go to the point where you want to create a flow. Let's say I'm going to create a small flow on how to create contacts. So I'm going to click on the plus icon on my side on the top here, and that's going to open my flow creator. And then
Where is this at?
on the top, click on the orange icon on the top.
On the top.
Do you see that orange icon on your browser, sitting on your browser?
Oh, the extension?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you click on it,
Okay.
you will see the flow creator open up. Maybe you can just look at my screen so that you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I see the same thing.
All right, perfect. So you start with the purpose of the flow. So you basically write what is the flow that you're creating. So I'm just going to create a flow on how to create a contact. So I'm just going to say how to create a contact as my flow name. And then I start with my first step. So my first step for my user is to click on contact. So look how I'm, selecting that option from my application. So I click on it, and Whatfix identifies that this is a clickable element. So it says click on contacts, but you can always change it to say anything else you want. And then I have to position the Whatfix tip. So you will see there are some gray areas and some light orange and dark orange gray areas too. So the dark orange area is where the Whatfix tip is currently positioned. You can position it on the other two areas as well, where it is light orange in color. So you can pick one of the options from here. And then, since this is a clickable element, because a user has to click on this option, you have to say, when will this step complete? You're going to say on click of selected element. And then
Okay.
if you want to add any additional information, you can just add it below. Click on contacts some some stuff where you want to give additional information to your users, and then you add your first step. So that's my first step. Now my second step is to click on contacts and then click on the add another step, which is click on new. So I'm going to, so make sure that when you're clicking on these elements, make sure that you're picking up the right element. You're not giving extra space like here. You don't want to do this, but you want to focus on the
Right.
right proper element and say click on new. And this one has a lot of areas where you can, I mean, all of these positions are open to place the Whatfix step. So let's pick this one. And again, this is a clickable element. So I'm going to say on click of selected element. And I'm going to add that step as well. The next step is to click on new, and now there's a lot of text boxes and everything. So one of the best practices is, because there are, like, let's say I can see at least about 20 text boxes here, and you don't want to add a step on each of these text boxes because that's going to make it a 20-step flow, right? So what you can do
Right.
is you can maybe make some of the most important or the mandatory things, you can have a step on them. Like for example, this last name is mandatory, so I'm going to have a step on this. Say enter last name, and again, since it's a text box, I'm going to say on typing text. So we have an option called on typing text. So
Okay.
in that case, a typing text. Now, and then I'm going to add a step there. And I don't want to really create a step on each of these other text boxes. So I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to add another step and point it to everything else. I'm trying to point it to everything else, like this whole box. And then I think I don't have a position here, so let me cancel that out and see if I can pick something else. Can I do something? No. So what I'll do is, in this, it's Whatfix, although it's picking up this position, it doesn't allow me to place the tip anywhere. So that's a bad idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it on contact information, and then I'm going to say enter all relevant details below. I'm just trying to save some steps here because I don't want to add a step on everything. Enter all relevant details, and then what will happen is now the user is going to enter all the relevant details, and I'm going to say continue this step on the click of the next button, because you don't really know what the user is going to fill because not all are mandatory. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell the user, once you finish entering all the relevant detail, click on this next switch on the tip to move to the next step. So it's enter all relevant details
Okay.
and click on next to move to the next step. And then I'm going to say this one's on click of next button, and I'm going to add that step. And finally, I'm going to just add one more step, which is going to be on the save button. So I say click on save to save the contact. Okay, now I'm going to add that step. Okay, so now I've created a small flow with the 5 steps. So now I'm going to make sure that this is
Mhm.
working as expected. So I'm going to click on test run to run this to make sure it's running properly. Let me test run it. So my first, okay, wait, just let me disable my extension because that's causing a lot of problems here. Okay. Okay, click on contacts, then click on new, enter last name, click on all the other relevant steps so I can just fill out anything else or whatever I want to fill. And then I can click on next for it to move to the save button. So now this is how I want my flow to work. So the way I want my flow to work, it's working as expected. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this flow to save this flow. So I'm going to publish it, and that will save my flow. And then I go back into my Whatfix account and do a quick reload, and I will see the flow that I just created. Okay.
Okay.
So now, if at
Now,
all, go on. Sorry.
does the person that's our clients, do they need any extensions or anything on their side for this to
No,
work, or
no.
just
So you're going to be
any browser?
yeah. So what you're going to do is, see, there are two ways of you having Whatfix on your application. In your case, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding two lines of code into your application.
Gotcha.
All
Okay.
right. So you don't need an extension. It's just because I'm working on Salesforce and I have no way to add this code into their application. So I'm using the extension.
Gotcha.
Okay. So now I've created a contact. I'm quite happy with what I've done, but suddenly I remembered maybe I want to add a new step, or I want to edit some language on the flows. So if you are trying to edit the language on the flows and you're trying to make minor changes, then you can just click on the edit option here on top and go to the step where you want to make the changes on in terms of language changes and anything else that you want to do, and save the step. But if you want to make some structural changes, like you want to delete a certain step or add an additional step, then you have to click on the launch full edit. Clicking the launch full edit will take you to that particular point where you started creating the flow, and then you can actually add a new step if you want to add a new step, and then you can also move that step around. So let's say that I added a step in the end and then I wanted to make it my first step, so I can just go to the end and then move the step to place it to the top, anything like that. So those features are available. So you can delete a step, you can move steps from one position to another position on your launch full edit.
Okay.
So
Right.
I'm going to just delete it. And after you do it, for saving the step, you're saving the flow, you're going to click on publish flow. Okay, so that's it. So I think today I just wanted to cover a little bit about how to create a flow so that you can actually get into creating a flow, and then we can talk about how we can embed that flow on your application.
Okay.
So how many flows do you anticipate creating?
I would say 10 to start with.
Okay, so do you want to co-create one flow together and then create the 9 by yourself, or do you think you'll be able to create all 10 flows by yourself?
I think I can create them by myself.
Okay.
I've worked with software like this before, so it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Then that's cool. So do you want to get on it, give me a timeline when you would like to complete those 10 flows, and then we can connect again for a implementation session, just to go through the implementation options that we have.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part of that again.
I was just wondering when we can regroup for the next session.
Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we could put together some basic flows, and then how long do you think? Maybe a week, or I think that's maybe towards the end of next week, Thursday or something.
Yeah, I would say, this week is almost done, so maybe the end of next week.
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe Thursday.
Okay, so do you want to catch up next week, same time? So 22nd of what is that? Yeah, 22nd. Is that when you want to connect again?
Sure.
Yeah, the 22nd.
Okay, so we'll just connect again on 22nd. And if you have any questions, you can, there is you can write to me, or you can also, there is this option here, the chat. You can chat with me on this as well. Okay, there's an intercom available.
All right.
Okay, just drop me a message on intercom or drop me a message over email, and I'll be there to, in case you have any difficulty in creating the flows. Okay.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. Are you gonna send us a calendar invite for next Thursday?
Yeah, I'm going to be sending you a calendar invite for next Thursday, same time.
Okay.
All right, just after this call. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for coming on this call.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Okay,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.